Rob Chapman.
If you've spoken to me, it means you've rung me, it means I've returned your call or I've taken your call, and I see no reason to not continue that courtesy afforded to you. So I'll answer any questions if I don't get them to them tonight, later tonight or over the weekend. But for a starter, let me read a statement and then I will take questions. So the first and most important thing that I want to say tonight is to sincerely apologise to everyone associated with the Adelaide Football Club. I'm talking at staff, players, coaches, our members, supporters, and importantly our sponsors. To all of them, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry on behalf of everyone involved. As you heard the Chairman and the CEO of the Commission today, we are pleased to confirm that we have resolved this matter in which charges have been brought against our club. It has been resolved and is concluded. The integrity of our game and our competition is paramount. None of us, not one of us, can for an instant relax on the absolute requirement for integrity. We accept, therefore, the sanctions that the AFL has decided to impose upon us. None of us can tolerate any breaches of the rules, intended or unintended, mistake or otherwise. The Adelaide Football Club accepts that its executives erred in the manner in which they negotiated with Kurt Tippett and his management and the way in which they handled and managed the agreement into which they and the player entered. Some weeks ago, the board initiated a review of the governance and reporting procedures. Some weeks ago, the AFL investigated all of our player contracts. There are no further breaches. As the Chairman said, I'll take his lead, this is not a systemic breach. I'm obliged to stress a very important point. When confronted by the errors of the club's own making, we reported this to the AFL Commission. We knew it was wrong. It was voluntary disclosure. We cooperated 100% with the AFL investigation. And moreover, as confirmed, there was no breach of the salary cap. This last 6 weeks has been tough for everyone involved with the club. My entire focus from day one in this saga has been to minimise the long-term risks and the potential sanctions, which could have been far worse than they are. At all times, we've made decisions that are in the overall best interests of the club and to achieve the best overall outcome for the club. Notwithstanding what you see and have heard today, I and your club's board are of the firm view, the absolute view, that our club is on the road to a strong and successful future. Finally, the club board will meet soon. I've already convened that. We'll decide on our structure of management in the short term to provide the continuing leadership and strength at the Adelaide Football Club. You can rest assured that we've been planning that for some time and are advanced in our thinking, but as soon as a decision is reached, we'll be making that announcement as soon as possible. I'm sure there are some questions.
Is it too early to ask about Stephen Trigg's future with the Adelaide Football Club, Rob?
Given that his suspension takes effect from the 1st of January, Caroline, it does give us a bit more time to take into account everything that occurred today, all of the feedback. As I said, we have obviously thought about contingencies. We're well planned in that. I was encouraged by what Andrew had to say. You know that I'm a personal supporter of Stephen. And at our club, we have a very deep, a very wide agenda for the next couple of years. I think he's the best person to lead the club through that. But that is speculative. We will just have to wait and see what the board finally decides over the next couple of days.
Rob, given Matt Rendell's position was decided to be untenable without breaching any rules, Stephen's pled guilty to breaching rules of the AFL. As chairman, do you consider Stephen's role untenable now?
Yeah, that position back then with Matt was hard. It was hard for Matt and for the club. I think Matt accepts all of the reasons as to why that occurred, and I don't think either of us had any alternative other than to part company as football club and as recruiting manager back then. So recognise it was hard. I'm very pleased for Matt that he's in a good role, in a good club, and so I think Stephen's position is somewhat different, a whole different set of circumstances, a whole different set of reasoning, and as I responded with the first question, we'll be assessing all of that over the next couple of days in more detail.
Do you feel very let down by what these officials and executives have done to your board and to your football club and your members and your new coach and players? Do you feel a bit let down by them, Rob?
Yeah, I don't like speaking on behalf of other people, but I know that Stephen, if he had his time again, would make different decisions and choose a different course of action. I know I've got an appropriate and very good relationship with the Chief Executive, a good and appropriate relationship between Chairman and Chief Executive. I think, as I said, he would make different decisions. I think it's isolated. I know it's isolated.
And yet you've been misled for the entire time you've been chairman about something.
Yeah, and this is the difficult piece. I don't like the hiding behind legal reasons bit, but I suppose given to today's hearing, as you'd expect, there's a couple of folios of agreed facts between all parties, and there's some disputed facts. The reasons that Stephen has given me and the board as to why he chose to not reveal to the board, I understand. That doesn't mitigate or doesn't condone what he's done in any respect. I hope I've answered that.
Rob, what's your personal view of Kurt Tippett, the person, and his management? Do you think they've in some way caused this to happen to your club?
Yeah, look, Kurt, I'm on record as saying he's a fine young man. I think I had a good relationship with Kurt. He was a player that I spoke to. I have no thoughts other than now that he will, I suppose, presume, gets picked up with another club, and he'll be treated like any other player of other clubs.
You mentioned instead of treatment, what about Phil Harper? The fact that it's only 3 months, you're pretty confident that he'll come back as football operations manager.
Ditto Phil. I think Phil's suspended for 2 months. Yeah. That is a much easier role to fill too at this time of year, and we have exceptional resources that can fill that role for a couple of months. But like Stephen, our board will need to make that decision, but I support the view that Phil should return to his role. I hope he does, but as I said, the board will make that decision.
Rob, can I ask, when there were reports midway through last year that there was an exit clause in Kurt's contract, what were you and the board told at that stage regarding those reports? Yeah,
good. I'm very glad of that minute that appears in our board papers. I think it's August 2011. I think it was before most had written articles about it, but there were whispers that there were clauses in contracts. We asked the question back then of the Chief Executive. The answer we got was satisfactory to the board, that we weren't breaching any rules, that it existed in a contract, and that contract by definition must have been registered with the AFL. It was quite an innocuous discussion. We didn't think too much about it then because we didn't think that there was anything wrong. It'd be easy to reflect in hindsight. With the independent agreements, of course, I mean, that was never revealed and was only revealed to me by Phil Harper. There's some speculation as to who, but by him on Saturday, October 13. And that put a bit of a different slant on it for me as chairman, and subsequently discussed that with the board. Spoke to Stephen, who was overseas, as you all know, and on his arrival, I think he landed here at 8, at 9, after getting through customs, was in my office, and we spoke to the Chief Executive of the AFL some hours later.
Some people might say this is a light penalty because Adelaide at the moment is a club on the rise, top 4 club this year. Some good young players have coming next year. If you finish in the top 4 again, the draft penalty is really not that much, is it?
I'm not the right person to be asking whether it's light or not. I don't think the players or the coaching group will see it as light. I certainly don't. I think it's a big impost, but it's a sanction. You know, we've admitted the breach, and it's a sanction that we accept, and we will just work harder and